Here you go.
If I rack my brain as far back as I can go, I can vaguely remember sitting in the bleachers of Milwaukee County Stadium in the middle of December with my snow pants on and your winter jacket and your hat huddled tightly next to the person right next to you. Well, you might be thinking to yourself, well, the Brewers don't really play in December, so what's going on? Well, back then, Green Bay played 3 home games at Milwaukee County Stadium, and it was known as the Milwaukee Gold Package. Kind of encouraged the citizens of Milwaukee, Metro Milwaukee, to get out to a Brewer game if Lambeau Field was too far away. Even back then, I had always thought of Brett Favre as more than just a football player. Although he might be at the top of many records and hold many others, he's always been more than just a football player in the NFL. Today I'm going to tell you about my buddy Brett Favre and why he's one of the most significant people, the most down-to-earth people that the game of football has ever seen. First off, I'm going to start by explaining why Brett Favre is important to me. Since I was born, my family has always backed the Packers. My father collects everything from trinkets to autographed footballs to bobbleheads, so I pretty much grew up having no choice but to back the Packers as well. Sundays were pretty much sacred in my house, and if I was found doing anything except for glued to the television on game day, I was pretty much disowned. I'd always then still thought of Brett Favre as something more. Now maybe you say, well, it was because he was your hometown quarterback. Well, maybe it was just the truth. Well, now that I've explained why Brett Favre is important to me, I'm going to tell you why Brett Favre is important to the NFL. In this day and age of free agency, players are often selfish and hold out, which means that they miss out on practices, sometimes even games, until their salary conditions are met by their team. Brett Favre has never once complained about this, and in many cases actually called out fellow teammates, including Donald Driver, who did. In 2001, he signed a 10-year contract, which was dubbed the lifetime contract, which in turn pretty much guaranteed he would retire from the NFL as a Green Bay Packer. Also, he's important to the NFL because he's thought of as an idol. You often see little kids in your backyard playing with the football saying, oh, I'm Brett Favre. Well, I want to be Brett Favre when I grow up. Well, you might be thinking, well, where did this all start? From the day one, Brett Favre was always tough. According to Tim Evans, who wrote one of the many biographies on Brett Favre, he was quoted saying, I was hit in the head with a baseball bat when I was 4 years old, and the only reason I cried was because I didn't want to get hit again. Since middle school and high school, Brett Favre's father coached him in football, so his hard work was very detailed and carried over. The day after his father died of a massive heart attack, Brett Favre threw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns on a Monday Night Football game against the Oakland Raiders. His hard work shone through again in college when he was recruited by Southern Mississippi, but actually as a defensive back. He went through a couple weeks of practice, realized this wasn't for him, went and talked to a coach and said, you know what, I want to be in control of this football team, I want to be a quarterback. His coach said, all right, well, we're going to start you out at 7th string. 7th string, I mean, most teams don't even have that. So he worked really hard, and eventually he worked his way up to a 2nd string. Through his college career, another example of the toughness would be he was involved in a pretty bad car accident. He had 30 inches of his small intestine removed and was placed on a liquid diet for 2 weeks. During those 2 weeks, he lost 40 pounds. Nonetheless, 5 weeks later, Brett Favre took the field in his first college game and led Southern Miss in an upset against Alabama. Now that you understand why Brett Favre is important to the NFL, I'm going to tell you why Brett Favre is important to Green Bay. In 1992, Brett Favre was traded from Atlanta to the Green Bay Packers for a first-round draft pick. 3 games into the 1992 season, the then-starter Don Majkowski got hurt, and Brett Favre took the field his first as a Green Bay Packer and engineered his first of many come-from-behind wins, 24-23 against the Cincinnati Bengals. Brett Favre currently holds many Green Bay records. This past Sunday, I had the fortune of being at the game, and I saw him throw for touchdown number 420, which ties him for the most ever with Dan Marino. He also holds the record for the most wins by any quarterback at 150, and is in 2nd place for total passing yards, only behind Dan Marino. He was a 3-time league MVP and led the Packers to Super Bowl 31 championship. In Green Bay, he's remembered for his generosity as well as his charitable nature. He founded the Brett Favre Forward, F-O-U-R, Forward Foundation, which has raised over $2.2 million. He has a yearly softball game and a golf tournament, in which the golf tournament yearly raises over $100,000. He's heavily involved in the Boys and Girls Club, as well as the Make-A-Wish Foundation, in which every passing and rushing touchdown he donates $150 to each. And also Mike White was quoted saying, Brett Favre was heavily involved in Hurricane Katrina with his house in Mississippi. He has raised almost $1 million for the Hurricane Katrina Fund. Some people, after hearing this, may argue, well, Brett Favre might be the greatest football player, of all time. Well, after today, hopefully you understand that there's a lot of importance of Brett Favre to me, as well as the NFL and Green Bay. So maybe after today, the real argument might be that Brett Favre is not only the greatest player, but the greatest person that just happens to play football of all time. Ron Wolf, the ex-general manager of the Packers, was quoted saying, "No player in the history of the NFL identifies or is more closely linked to a specific team than the Green Bay Packers. Brett Favre is an extraordinary man that has made the most of his unique situation as superstar quarterback of the Green Bay Packers."